This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along. I am Amanda, your host of the SmackDown review. As you know, I am back on X. Please reach out. I am at Amanda SD Review. And guys, what a week. I loved AJ Lee's promo on Raw, and that whole segment was brilliant with Seth and Becky and then obviously Punk. I am excited to see her back in the ring. If you guys are interested, I would hugely recommend reading AJ's book. It's called Crazy is My Superpower. It's brilliant, and I guarantee if you don't already think she is awesome, you will for sure after. It's a really interesting read. And the inevitable news we all knew was coming since the WWE signed the 10-year deal with Saudi, and WrestleMania 2027 will be in Saudi. I'll have to say that is absolute BS. To give the first ever out of North America Mania to Saudi is just wank. And yes, I am mad as hell. The great sports washing shame continues. Anyway, my mum taught me never talk about religion or politics, and it feels like we're starting to stray. So without further ado, let's get to it and review the SmackDown that aired 12th of September from Norfolk. And I have been to Norfolk, of course, because we have our own Norfolk here in the UK. That isn't where this was from. This was Norfolk in the States. Have not been there. Have been to the UK version if anyone's interested. Anyway, so tonight's show starts off with our arrivals, and we've got Randy and Drew, who are in the main event later. And we have Tiffy and Jade for their title match, presumably not the main event then. What the F, WWE, doing really well here. And I'm also not happy. Who the hell are these on comms? Booker T, okay, obviously I know him. And the guy called Mick or Nick. What the hell is going on? We start with a recap of last week's Cena segment and the return of Brock Lesnar after the Sami match. And first out tonight, we get Brock. And oh man, I hope he cuts a promo. I always think his voice doesn't match him, which tickles me greatly. Booker saying that Brock is a god of war. Sorry, I hate him on comms. What's going on? He is literally just saying random words. And yes, guys, Brock has a mic in hand, and this is going to be hilarious. He says, though, absolutely nothing. As the crowd chants that he sucks, we get R-Truth's music. And he makes his way to the ring, to the actual disgust of Brock, who looks like he might kill him. Brock tells Truth to shut up. Truth says that he's going to be the first superstar to say welcome back. He says he used to be scared of him, and he isn't anymore. Brock shuts him down and says he doesn't even know who he is, and he better have a damn good reason for coming out here and interrupting him. Truth says you've been disrespecting Cena, his childhood hero and brother, for the last 25 years. Brock asks him what his name is and how old he is. Brock says he isn't interested in this. He is here for one thing, and that's John Cena. He asks Truth if he knows where Cena is, and Truth says no. Brock asks him what the hell is he doing in his ring, and Truth says that he's here to defend his childhood hero. Brock is looking confused and says to Truth, so you are Cena's brother? Truth comes back with younger brother, and you are Truth, and he says my name is Ron Cena. Brock says, so you don't know where Cena is, so why are you here? And Truth says he is here to stop the disrespect to Cena. He says that Cena's changed this year. He even made a little kid cry. He says now he's Super Cena, and he's coming for Brock. He won't be running from the beast, he will be feeding on him. Brock says, "You're his brother." Truth says, "I'm his younger brother." Really labouring that quote-unquote joke. Truth seems to get confused who he is. Before he can say anything more, he gets an F5 from Brock, who in the process splits his jeans right up to his arse. To be fair, he manages to style it out. Well, that was an opening segment. Pretty weak way to start the show. But did you hear what I mean about Brock's voice? It doesn't match his body, does it? Or is it just me? I guess this is why he had Heyman as his manager for so many years, because there was nothing wrong with the content of the promo, but I just couldn't stop myself giggling at his voice. Anyway, I guess in this opener segment, WWE embracing their comedy side with Truth getting involved, but it wasn't good. My mood so far has remained pretty grumpy. Let's see how the rest of the show shapes up. We get Sami backstage, who is talking about how happy he is that Cena has given him the green light to have his own US Championship Open Challenge tournament. And we can't see who Sami is talking to, but he says that he feels their careers have run in parallel, and he knows that win or lose, they will put on a great match tonight. As the camera pans out, we can see that it will be Rey Fenix who the match is with. And be honest, hands up who forgot that he was even on the roster. And now it's a pretty cool match. Good clashing styles. Should be worth a watch. We now get a promo from Solo, who goes on about what he's had to sacrifice to get the championship. He sacrificed family, loyalty, everything for what? He says he has lost his bloodline, his Ulafala, and his championships, and he says it's all going to change. He has been waiting in the shadows for far too long, and it's time he is leading his family tree to greatness. Now, I'm sorry, what? Solo in the shadows? Pretty much all of the programme has featured him for what feels like the last 2,000 years in the shadows. My arse. So what then? Solo is probably going to ruin the Open Championship matches and force Sami to defend against him, I bet you. And then we can go round that mulberry bush again. Now that match between Sami and Rey Fenix is coming up now, so let's see. Both guys out to a great reaction, and face versus face is always quite an interesting prospect. Now I have to say it again, I hate this commentary. And this one kicks off as expected. It's fast and furious, with Phoenix showing his awesome moves. And early on it's pretty even. I'd forgotten, actually, to be fair to him, how exciting Phoenix is to watch. And we get Phoenix pretty much kicking Sami's head off with a massive kick leading to his awesome spinning corkscrew move to Sami on the outside. Phoenix gets himself a close 2 count and quickly follows with another. And he is pretty cool. Every time Sami thinks he's earned himself a breather by throwing him through the ring ropes, Phoenix somehow saves himself and stays on the apron. We get Phoenix then dodging the haluva kick, with Phoenix dodging out the way and hits a DDT, getting a super close cover on Sami. And at the moment, it's all Phoenix. From nowhere, Sami hits Blue Thunder on Phoenix and gets such a close cover that the crowd got to free. And the crowd are telling the ref he sucks because it was not a free count. Sami hits an exploder into the corner and he lines up for the haluva kick, but Phoenix has it scouted and hits a wicked counter, getting himself another close 2 count. This one ends as finally Sami hits the haluva kick and gets the win. This was an awesome match. In a million years, I never would have guessed that this matchup would be the first US title match, but wow, it was great, and I hope this is a sign of things to come. Unexpected opponents, great matches. Yes, please, I will take that on the show all day long. We didn't get my predicted interference from Solo on MFT, so maybe that's not happening now. Please God, it's not, and we let Solo just move on after the poor soul has been in the shadows for so long. Have you ever heard such nonsense? And the band played Believe It If You Like. Solo in the shadows. Jesus. Anyway, we get B-Fab backstage. Kiana and Julia are there. They're bragging about what they did to Michin last week, and B-Fab tells them they only got away with it as she's been busy with the profits, but she isn't busy right now. Kiana tells her what gives her the right to speak to her client, but Julia shuts her down and says that's fine. B-Fab can have her match tonight. And round we go again. We have Michin in the US title picture and her mate B-Fab, because apparently these are the only two people on the roster that could possibly be interested. Before this match, we've got a Wyatt 6 promo. Uncle Howdy asks where the profits go from here. He says, in Paris we tried you and tested you, but you failed. He says he told them they were not at war with flesh but family. And then we get Rowan saying that it pains him to see the profits like this. He says people don't realise what they have till it's gone, and that their brotherhood is infected. He says they have a choice to amputate or let the disease consume them. Uncle Howdy says that they are not the ones to blame. They just sowed the seeds. He says, where do you go from here? Profits follow the buzzards. Now that's interesting. For years, and on so many different platforms and podcasts, people have been saying for the profits to break up and go their separate ways. And I think maybe it feels like we're seeing closer to that than we ever have. Maybe now is the right time. I mean, the tag division on SmackDown is so strong, it could stand to lose an undoubtedly super talented team. I don't know if they will go as far as to have the profits turn on each other, or if we just get a relatively amicable split and start off on individual singles runs. But either way, I'm here for it. I would be fine for the Street Profits to break up. So that's quite an interesting angle. Now to this match, B-Fab versus Julia. And in the Sky Days, for those of you watching in the UK, this would be one to watch on fast forward. I joke, obviously. Pre-match, we have B-Fab take out Kiana and then Julia taking exception as they start to fight outside the ring, with Kiana getting involved, holding B-Fab as Julia delivers the Arrivederci kick. And surprise, surprise, Michin comes flying down to the ring, kendo stick in hand, as Julia and Kiana bail out. And the bell never even went on this one. I can't say I'm that bothered. This was proper just rinse and repeat. And I guess we are now headed for a tag match between these four, which is fine, I guess. But honestly, I would rather see Julia mix it up with someone new. And I know I say it a lot, but the stories on the women's side of SmackDown are just awful. In fact, they blow chunks. As later on, we have a title match, Tiffy versus Jade. Yawn. Again, that isn't even the main event. Come on, WWE Creative. You've got some brilliant talent here. Sort your life out. We go backstage where we have Drew pumping iron in preparation for his match later with Randy. And next up, we've got Jade versus Tiffany. Before we get that, we have coverage of AAA officially announcing Mania 43 in Riyadh. And I can't even with all that again. And a promo from Spooky Wookie Aleister Black. He says he tricked Priest. He knew he had poisoned him enough. He says the venom will run its course, and he says he is the sickness and the cure. He says if you keep fighting, you will die. He says he will be the prophet of violence. Now, I'm not sure what all that means. It's double speak, and it smacks a bit of Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt, obviously, you know, may he rest in peace, but it's, I think what Matt used to say, tell me the time, don't tell me how to make the watch. I didn't understand a lot of it. I'm not sure what he wants. Does he want to be in a faction with Priest, or does he want him to stop fighting everyone? It's really not clear. I wouldn't hate Priest Black faction. That would be quite fun. Let's see. Now Jade versus Tiffy. Jade chops him off on her way to the ring, saying this is her time. Well, I don't think the start of hour 2 on a random SmackDown from Norfolk, no offence to Norfolk, is your time actually, but let's see. Honestly though, if Jade is winning the title, it isn't here, and it isn't in a non-main event, is it? WWE absolutely love her. We get a reminder of SummerSlam and their previous match. We get started and things are pretty even, but Tiffy soon getting the upper hand as her athleticism holds her in good stead against the powerful Jade. Honestly, I swear to God, Booker T is rambling on some nonsense, and I'm tempted to mute comms like you do when it's your least favourite commentator commentating on your football match. It's just the absolute worst. Tiffy is well in control, has Jade outside the ring. Jade's starting to mount a fight back, pulling off some moves on the outside, but Tiffy, looking for the prettiest moonsault, is countered, earning Jade a near fall. Jade runs herself into the ring post and Tiffy follows up with a massive drop kick. She goes for her moonsault on the outside but misses, and Jade takes advantage, spearing her through the barricade. Whilst they were outside, the ref counted them out and the match is called a draw. While they're down and out, we get Nia coming out to ringside, who starts beating down first on Jade and then on Tiffy. Nia hits the Annihilator on Tiffy and stands in the ring, making the title round my waist signals. The crowd are not happy with how that one ended. So, the match. Now, there's no doubt Jade is getting better every single time she comes out and has a match. This one was a solid 7. Tiffy, as always, did a great job. The ending being a draw, well, I guess that's setting us up for another match, which will be the decider. And I'm getting distinct vibes that Jade will finally get her win over Tiffany and get the title, which sucks. There is an opportunity, though, with the Nia angle. Perhaps we get a 3-way between these ladies, and that's the decider, making it a bit more interesting. But honestly, 3 words for you: rinse and repeat, the same 3 people in the title picture. We now have Chelsea. Oh look, WWE Creative, there's an awesome potential opponent for Tiffy. She's with Alba, and Akosnik called us outside his office and says they've been more than patient, waiting for a tag opportunity. She talks about Flair's injury and how protected she is. She says if Nick doesn't do what she wants, he will see why they call her the hot mess. He says that Flair and Bliss have to defend their titles next week on NXT, but how about they face the winners? So we have a tag title shot for Chelsea and Alba at some point. We stay with Nick, and Miz approaches and asks for a title shot for the tag team titles. He says, Nick says that he's already spoken to Mello. Miz is happy about that and says that Mello's finally seen the light, and Nick doesn't correct him that clearly it's not the tag team titles that Mello has asked for a shot at. So we continue with that angle. I guess Mello will be up soon for Sammy in the US Open Challenge, and Miz will ruin it for Mello somehow. Up next, we have a look back at the history between Cena and Brock ahead of their match at WrestlePalooza, which I now know is called that, as it used to be an ECW PLE, which I did not know. Still a dumb name, but at least there is a legit reason for it. The look back at Cena and Brock was extremely schmaltzy, to say the least, but it gives the newer fans some perspective into the history, which is genuinely 25 years long between these two. Next up, the main event, Randy versus Drew. Before that, we get a backstage interview with Rey Mysterio. He is saying how exciting he is for AAA tonight, but he is quickly interrupted by Dom, who says that when he becomes the Mega Champion tonight, he will be the first Mysterio to be a double champ. He says when he wins tonight, how about Rey comes to the ring and puts the title around his waist? Rey agrees to do that. And then we get Finn, who says the best way for Dom to show the world that he's the greatest luchador of all time is for him to go out there and do it alone. And Dom doesn't look completely happy, but I think we all know that he's got El Grande Americano up his sleeve, so I don't think he's really that bothered. Now listen, I know that we're sowing the seeds, and we have been sowing the seeds for a long time now on the breakup of the Judgment Day, and that's fine. Once Liv's back and we know where her allegiance lies, maybe that's the moment. We know that she's not going to be happy that Roxanne now has her feet under the table. And what's Finn's deal? I am all for the Judgment Day split. I think it's going to be really important, as I said, where Liv fits into this. So at one point I thought that Liv and Finn were at it, and were possibly, puppet masters of the Judgment Day. But then Finn was so adamant that Roxanne came in, and he's the one that's really sort of pushed her membership of the Judgment Day, that maybe I was wrong on that. So perhaps the Judgment Day split, maybe Finn, Roxanne and JD Bighead go off on their own, and then we get Raquel with Liv and Dom. Maybe that's how the split will go. But either way, it's been a really great faction, actually. And it's really done a great job of getting Dom over in just an amazing way. Really, the work that's been done with him has been phenomenal. Obviously, it did brilliant things for Rhea and Damien as well. Maybe it has served its purpose. So splitting it up is probably the right call. But I think it all hangs on what happens with Liv. And when we got the announcement about WrestleMania in Riyadh, we saw Liv tonight for the first time, just behind Triple H as the announcement was getting made. Maybe that's them drip feeding to us that she's nearly almost ready to possibly come back, which would be great. Have missed her in on the action. I think we need her a lot, and obviously by splitting up the Judgment Day, that gives us some more, singles competitors to play into the title pictures on all counts as well. Also, sidebar, talking about that press conference that was held in Saudi, did you notice how grumpy every single person representing the WWE, with the exception of Triple H, looked, apart from Liv, who was smiling and absolutely loving life? So maybe that's the real story of how the superstars feel about Mania being in Saudi. Anyway, let's not go back down that rabbit hole. Next up, we've got Kathy Kelly. She's got Sammy and tells him congratulations for retaining tonight. He says that Phoenix is a future star. And then we get Mello comes along, tells him he wants his shot next, and Sammy agrees to the match and tells him not to miss. Miz appears and then gets the news about Mello getting a US title shot and is furious. He tells Mello that he needs guidance. Mello persuades him to let him get the US title, and then they'll go for the tag titles together, and that seems to pacify Miz. In the background of the Sammy segment, someone was lingering, and I couldn't make out who it was. May have been Solo, in the shadows. Maybe that's an angle we are being pushed, but I still say I call BS on that. Solo in the shadows. I mean, if you look back, we had the whole him in the bloodline with Roman thing as the enforcer. We then had him overthrowing Roman and having his own bloodline. We then had him losing his Ulafala and then making his own bloodline, the MFTs. That was all primetime segments on both PLEs and weekly television. How on earth is that being in the shadows? Just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Anyway, the main event, Drew versus Randy. This one starts off, and it ought to be a great match, no doubt. These two are awesome. And Randy starts off really hot. We get sold that Randy lands funny, and that gives Drew the opportunity to work on his quote-unquote injured knee, and the crowd don't like that at all. Booker on comms rambling on about Drew not having anyone in his corner. Well, that's not true. He was literally the chosen one in the Vince era. More absolute tosh from Booker. Back to the ring. Things are back even Stevens. Randy hits a belly-to-back suplex on Drew. Drew goes to the eyes of Randy and then drops him onto the reinforced announce desk. Back in the ring, and the crowd are baying for the RKO as Randy looks for the draping DDT, but Drew slithers away. Randy hits him off the announce desk twice and chucks Drew back into the ring, but Drew with a claymore from absolutely nowhere. Randy finally hits his draping DDT, and he is cut open on his forehead and lines up for the punt, and for some inexplicable reason the ref stops him, leaving Drew to hit the claymore and get the win. Now, I might be wrong here, but is the punt a forbidden move? I didn't think it was. I know they can't do pile drivers, and that's something we sold with the whole Kevin Owens angle. But why was the ref standing in the way of Randy punting Drew? I didn't like that. I think that's weird. Anyway, Drew gets a Claymore, gets the win, and then we get some afters as Drew continues to beat down on Randy, and he looks like he's about to put Randy through the bottom of the announce desk with a Claymore like he did to Cody a few weeks ago. And then, thankfully, Cody's music hits and he comes down to the ring to make the save. He grabs a mic and tells Drew that the champ is back. He says we can do this at WrestlePalooza, and we go off there. Well, let's start with the positive. Cody is back. That's cool. The Randy Drew match was good, and the Sammy Ray Phoenix match was good. They're literally the only positives. And guys, I'm sorry, I try to usually put a positive spin on things. I like to come at things from a glass half full perspective. I know I started off grumpy, and for me, this didn't get any better. I mean, let's see what WrestlePalooza brings. I think it's going to be a massive event. It's been sold really hard, and it's obviously in the US, it's ESPN's first PLE. For us and the rest of the world, there's no difference. It will just still be on Netflix. But I think it's going to be sold. It has been sold as a real big event. So let's see. That's next weekend. So once we've got a better idea of the full card, we'll do some predictions in next week's show. I'm going to go watch Worlds Collide now. Hopefully that'll make me less mad. But I can't tell you guys. I know you're probably bored of hearing me saying this, but the fact that Mania is going to be in Riyadh and just the crappiness of some of the storylines is it's not good times at the moment in WWE. I'd love to know what you guys thought of the show tonight, and maybe my general bad mood with WWE right now has coloured my view. So listen, reach out on social media. Let me know what you thought, and let's hope for better things next week. I'm certainly slightly more excited about Raw at the moment, and I think that's just because I'm so intrigued by the AJ Lee, Punk, Becky, Seth angle, and just generally feels like there's slightly better storytelling over on Raw. But let's hope that, we've seen it before in the past. We know that SmackDown can pull it back. So that just about does it for this week's show. Thank you, as always, for having me in your ears. And remember, until next time, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.